So, Lane, are you got roll? Sounds good. Let's see. So, the previous minutes were sent out. Are there any additions or revisions to the minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved as distributed. So move on to reports. So for my report, I went on meetings with Elliot, and Elliot will touch on basically everything, as that's most of the stuff going on. But for now, congratulations, you guys, on reaching yellow phase, for being healthy, being safe. It's kind of important. So even though we are allowed to freely move now and be safe, but just because one hiccup and we go back to orange, and I don't think any of us liked orange. So yeah, that's about it. Are there any questions from you guys or comments with regards to my report? I'm trying also a new layout to be able to try to see all you guys and the participants as well. Corey, go ahead.
Okay, just a friendly reminder, in addition to Jorge's like, yay, we're in yellow, masks go over the nose and the mouth. They're not earrings. They should not be dangling from your ears. They're not chin straps. We are not playing football on campus right now. They don't go here. They don't dangle. Covers this whole area. Remember, ladies and gentlemen who are tuning in, the nose is connected to like the respiratory system, and you can produce germs, not only from your mouth, but from your nose as well. So it's a friendly reminder now, so I don't yell at you and embarrass you in campus. Wear it over your nose and your mouth anytime you're not in your living room or living quarters. Thank you.
If we were in the Senate room, we'd be knocking for approval. But yes, Elliot, go ahead.
That's very good. Thank you very much, Corey. I will add, it is still, if you're outside, if you're eating, you can have them off, obviously. And then if you're outside and 6 foot away, that's still not a mandate. But other than that, everything was correct there. So thank you very much for bringing that up.
All right. So move on to student body president. Elliot, go ahead.
Okay. So I've got a couple updates, and we got some discussion down in general discussion to talk about. So firstly, executive committee met on Monday, and we discussed, besides what everybody will be putting into their reports, we also discussed campus emails. So recently, actually last week, Lane tried to send out the email, which is our minutes, and it was rejected by the campus because they're starting to do something. If you've seen in your emails, it's the campus pulse, which is basically trying to collect all of the random emails you get during the day and send them out through one source. While I think that's a great idea, I don't know if our minutes really belong in there. So I was planning on sending an email out to Kathy Cole, who's the head of PR, and I believe who orchestrates the campus pulse. I just saw yesterday or today, I believe, Lane was able to go through and send that email, and it went to the students, staff, and faculty. I'm still probably going to reach out to Kathy just to ensure that this is the same way, and we can discuss if you'd like. I believe really strongly that because we're the Student Government Association, we have the right to directly communicate with students. This is obviously not uninterrupted. We've always had a moderated listserv that we send out, and that is moderated by PR and IT, I believe. Rich can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, so I still think that, yeah, we'll get to that later, maybe, Drake. So I just think that we belong sending out directly instead of going onto that pulse. I don't know how many students really look at that, and I would prefer students to try to look at our minutes and make them more easily accessible. And I think that's better done through a email to all the student body than putting us on the bottom of a giant email, which has a bunch of other things on it. So moving forward from that, I attended the first CMT meeting that a student has ever attended before on Monday. I will be attending them for the rest of this semester, and the student body president will be from here on out. They made a couple decisions. Most of the stuff that I will be telling you about for a Monday's CMT meeting, you hopefully will know about by the time we meet on Wednesdays. They try to get that information out as soon as possible. We discussed yellow phase, moving into yellow phase. Some of the stuff on that committee, they would prefer to keep confidential until it is moved into like a campus-wide email that's sent to all of you. So some of the things that we are still discussing, I will have to keep within that committee until it is able to be discussed with the rest of campus. But I'll try to share with you as much as we can. In terms of what I can share with you is we will also be choosing a student in addition to myself and in addition to any student body president that sits on the CMT. From here on out, we will also be choosing a student to accompany them there. This student will not have to be on SGA. The probability of them being on SGA is somewhat likely since you all are fairly well known around campus for different reasons. Heidi Levine and I met yesterday and kind of ironed out what we would like to see for that student representation on the CMT. And I will, I might actually share my screen with you right now, so I can show it to you. Everybody see that? So this is basically what will be going out through a WUFU form. If you guys have any additions or potentially corrections, there might be some small grammatical mistakes. We pumped through it in about 45 minutes and then finished the meeting there. Basically what we would like to see, and I can read it if that's what you'd like to see. I feel like you can all read it right here. So maybe I'll just paraphrase a little bit. What we would like to see is a student who kind of not necessarily has like experience on a CMT, because nobody's going to have experience on a CMT, but kind of like demonstrates that they have held leadership roles before on campus and would be qualified, or at least know how to go about being on this committee. Because this is an extremely important committee that does deal with a lot of confidential issues. A lot of the decision-making process regarding COVID during the spring and during the summer and even during the fall has all been through the CMT. So every decision you've seen, every policy choice you've seen regarding COVID this year has been decided on by this meeting or by this committee. At the beginning of the year, they were meeting like 2.5, 3 hours. They've since gotten that down to an hour and a half, but hour and a half is a pretty consistent time. At least I've been told that they've been meeting. So it does require some time commitment. But I don't think that, I told them that we've never had a situation where a student that we nominated was not responsible, like we were just like joking around and made a nomination. I truly believe in all of our nominations being able to fulfill their role to the best of their ability, and I've never seen anybody not do that. So I would have no reason to believe that they would not be able to. Has everybody read this that would like to read it? If you haven't, you can throw your hand up. Seeing none, stop sharing. So that's what we're doing moving forward with that. I'm going to hopefully send out a WUFU form within the next couple days. I've got a lot of WUFU forms to send out. So that will be one of those going out, and hopefully we can get that nominated. I suggested, and I believe the way we will go about nominating and confirming that position is we're going to take a look at the nominees, make our SGA recommendation, and then it's going to go to the final CMT to make the decision who will sit on their committee. I think that that would be the best way for us to get our opinion in there before it's going to the CMT to make the final decision. So we will move on and go from there. Next, alternative meeting yellow policy update is in general discussion. We've got, oh, sorry, I lost my Zoom. There we go. So obviously with yellow coming out, we have the ability to meet in person instead of doing purely online. So we're going to have a discussion about that later in this meeting to see what we will do. In exec, we threw up a couple options. So I'll share with you those potential options, and we can decide what we would like to do moving forward. I would personally love to be a meeting in person. Not that I don't love seeing your faces all on Zoom, but I think I'd rather see them all in person. So we'll discuss that in general discussion. We will also be discussing solar panels in general discussion. I've been reached out to by several student leaders and also campus people, I guess leaders too, they're all leaders. And they would like to see, or were wondering what was happening with our solar panel project. And for the new people, I'm going to update you on all the history that I personally know about solar panels as it relates to SGA in the last 2 years. So we are all on the same page and we can decide what we would like to do moving forward, because I think that that is a project that has a lot of potential, but will require us to make some decisions on. Next, so absences. So every week, SGA, the exec board has the authority to determine whether or not an absence is accepted or denied. So if you don't remember me telling you, I can just update you on that. So you're expected, obviously, to come to these meetings. When you do not attend a meeting and you do not notify anyone, so anyone would be myself, Jorge, and Lane. If you don't notify any of those people, you get an unexcused absence. 3 unexcused absences forces the exec committee to call into question your membership on SGA. It used to be, prior to the changes that we made in the Constitution revision, it used to be you just got kicked out of SGA. We thought that was a little too harsh. So we would like to consider your membership before completely just denying you membership. So basically, just obviously a refresher, please reach out to Lane, Jorge, and I all together in an email just saying why you will be gone, and try to do that 24 hours in advance. Obviously, sometimes that's not possible. In the case of obviously emergencies, those things come up, and we're going to be very understanding of that. And the exec board is also going to be very understanding of that. So, so just keep that in mind, but try to be a little more, I don't know, take initiative. That seems like a dumb thing to say, but just that's for your information. This week, I will be reaching out to all those individuals who might have missed a meeting. And if you receive an unexcused absence, I'll reach out to you after the next SGA meeting, probably to notify you of the unexcused absence that you received. I can try to do that earlier or later. I don't know what anybody has a preference on. There's no language in the Constitution that forces me to do this. I just kind of do it as a courtesy to all of you, so then you know what you were at. If anyone wants to know at any time what they are sitting at for excused absences and unexcused absences, literally just ask, and I can pull up that document in like 2 seconds. So moving forward, Constitution Drafting Committee member addition. So now that we've kind of gotten into, once we've got 1 full month under our belt, I'd like to revamp the Constitution Revision Committee to finalize the few changes that we tabled during the Constitution approval meeting that we had about 3 weeks ago. We could do that in general discussion, or I don't know if that belongs in general discussion in new business, but we can add that member today. I would like to do that so we can get that ironed out and finalize the Constitution. Very exciting. SCB, so Student Conduct Board. We've been doing Student Conduct Board for, I feel like, 4 weeks. And recently I planned on sending out an email to get new members on. We initially did nominations. Nominations yielded only 3 people actually filling out the form. We could potentially do that again, but I don't know if that's super effective or not. Not a lot of people, out of like the 12 people that we nominated, only 3 of them said yes to it. So that's obviously not a great percentage. We need, I think, 2 from each class. I can check the Constitution on that, but we need 2 from each class and then 1 additional member as the chair. So that's that. Hopefully I'll be sending that out soon. I have not sent it out, 1, because we couldn't send anything out to the student body because of the listserv getting denied. That's since changed. I don't know if they purposely changed that or accidentally just let Lane through with the minutes last week. So I'm still reaching out about that. In addition to that, ACC DEI nominations and appointments, that needs to be finalized. That was only a temporary fill for that position when the committee meeting met like 2 weeks ago, I think. We need to fill those positions. We can do nominations, and we can do, I think we'll have to do nominations for the one group that was not represented on a student organization. And then finally, senior class president refill will also begin tomorrow, and we'll be voting until Sunday.
Senator.
Or, excuse me,
Senator.
nominations will be until Sunday, and voting will take place Monday through Wednesday. Did someone say something?
You said
Senator.
Oh yeah, we're replacing
my position, but
we're
I'm
replacing you,
still-
Casey. Sorry about that. I actually fired you. I think I can do that. Yeah, sorry, it was the senior class senator. My bad. I have that written down here. No, I actually do have senior class president. It is definitely you, Casey. Sorry about that. I was obviously joking there. Senior class senator position will go out and it will go from Sunday, and nominations will go from Sunday, and then voting will be Monday through Wednesday. So hopefully we'll have that new member in by next week. That is my entire report. Sorry it took so long. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Yeah, sorry guys. I'm in someone else's room, so they came in. But yeah, any questions or comments? All right, seeing none. We'll move on to senior class president, Casey Spring. Go ahead.
Okay, so we have our new budget requests. There are 2 of them now in new business. And then this week at FAC, we talked about capital improvement projects. And so I'm really excited. We've decided to take it on through various members. The suit rental service, looking into getting a greenhouse, the sustainability project with the punch card, and the sensory rooms were some of the ideas we adopted from what we talked about last week. So that's super exciting. And then I'm working with Elliot and Rich on Friday to make a how-to kind of budget video to send out to all the organizations on campus. We got some pretty good budgets this week, so I think people are kind of starting to figure it out. But I still think like that would be a really helpful resource for people to have.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments with regards to Casey's report? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to junior class president, Tatum Claiborne. Go ahead.
Hello. So we had to postpone the first president's meeting because I wasn't on Microsoft when the crash happened, so I couldn't get back into it. But the one for this upcoming Monday at 5:30 is still going on as planned.
Right on. And then for you guys as well, if you know anyone that's potentially looking to start a club, maybe send them this way. That way they don't even have to miss it and wait until next year. So that would be a good idea. Any questions or comments with regards to Tatum's report? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to sophomore class president, Chase Henry. Go ahead.
Oh crap. Sorry, I didn't know my camera was off. My committee met Sunday afternoon, and we talked about a lot of things. We talked about the hygiene product dispensers. I think we're going to move forward and just hopefully order in bulk and target main bathrooms on campus to start with, one in every academic building possibly, and stuff like that. And not just one in every academic building. We're hopefully going to do gender neutral women and men's bathrooms. So that's the main thing we talked about. And then we're still trying to figure out a time and what all is going to go into the SGA rebranding competition. So we're talking about that, apparel ideas. And then eventually, now that we're in yellow phase, I put hopefully we can do this if we get into yellow phase. Now that we're in yellow phase, hopefully get some campus connection events up and running. And we will talk about all that more on our committee meeting this Friday.
Very good. Questions or comments? Scott, I see your hand, so go ahead.
Yeah, so after that committee meeting, I was kind of tasked with looking into the feminine hygiene dispensary systems. So I'm meeting with some company or group, I'm not sure which one, called Aunt Flo to get a quote on the pricing for them. So we'll see how that goes. Current pricing seems to be between $200 and $300 per dispenser. It can get cheaper than $200, but that's if you have like a payment system, and I don't think you should pay for feminine hygiene products. So I'm not looking at those. That's all I wanted to say.
Very good. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right. Yeah, Scott, there's a message for yourself. Just to go through it.
Yeah, it's just for a quote. I'm not like signing a contract or anything.
Perfect. Just making sure. Thank you. Alrighty. So on to first year class president Will Keck. Will, go ahead.
Yeah, so like Tatum said, the president's meeting got canceled, so that we have one this upcoming Monday, and then the first year delegation met with Luke Bohonic yesterday to talk about like the recycling problems, and they're getting a bid from a different trash and recycling company. So they're looking to transition into that new company in the next month or so. So we talked a little bit about that, and then they want to start moving towards no trash closets and then having more large trash bins outside of the dorms that people can go to throw both their garbage and recycling to. He talked to us about like the trash service contamination policy, on how sometimes he'll get an email saying that in like an inspection, their trash was deemed contaminated. So that's why their the recycling was all thrown into the garbage. So that's explained some of why the recycling was thrown into the garbage altogether, but we talked about a little bit why that's not the case. So he was looking into their policy a little bit further, and he's going to talk to them about their what they deem contaminated and how often this occurs. So hopefully we'll get that information and give that to you guys. And then he's open to putting signage options and different communication methods in the dorm, so people know how to recycle, where to recycle, what to recycle. But all that's going to come with this new company that they're moving towards and what their policies and procedures are going to look like. So that is the majority of my report. And as we're talking about solar panels later, Luke Bohonic said he just installed solar panels at his house this year. So he's a good person to contact for that.
Very nice. Thank you. Any other questions or better yet, any questions or comments? Let's see. Scott, go ahead. Your hand's up first.
We did get information from Luke about the recycling closets, or having recycling bins inside of the trash closets. At least how he described it, the most recent attempt to do that was by Sustainability Club. They had some sort of paid position that didn't pan out. It seemed to be a problem with disorganization and making sure people were actually doing their jobs there. But that's only the most recent attempt that happened, and so I don't know about any previous attempt to include recycling in the trash closets.
All right, very good. Hadley, go ahead.
So in our meeting also, I brought up that many people on campus had seen the recycling going into the trash. And he said he was unaware of this and that he had not gotten any emails about it. So if you or anybody watching sees anything shady happening with the recycling going into the trash, email Luke, because he says as of right now, he hasn't been getting emails about that. And that's why he didn't know it was happening.
Right on. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, so move on to other reports. Are there any other reports? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 5, old business. We don't have anything for old business, I believe, so move on to item number 6, new business. We've got budget requests. ISO. Casey, go ahead.
Can we do the thing Elliot has on there first? I'm making sure I have one thing correct from one of the budgets. I just want to make sure I don't say like a wrong number. So if we could come back really quickly, I'd appreciate it.
Do you mean like
So like do the nominations that's under new business, and then come back would be lovely. Thank you.
I'll just replace it in our agenda. Yeah, very good. Yeah, because like technically I can't move the ACDC. I mean like to general discussion, but that doesn't count. So that's good. We all good. So Elliot, we'll move on to ACCDEI committee nominations. So go ahead.
You're probably not going to like this answer, but we're going to need to go off live stream for this. So I would like to move it to the end of the meeting. So then we can finalize the meeting and have the discussion.
Yeah,
So-
we can take a quick 5. I mean, a few minutes.
We can do the ISO one. It's the other one that there's a potential problem with.
Yeah, no worries, no worries, no worries. I mean,
So I move to allocate $843.11 to the International Students Organization. Excuse me.
Second.
right on. So it's been motioned and seconded to allocate $843.11 to ISO. Any discussion? Casey, go ahead.
So they requested funding both to do some tabling, so that included a budget for things like shirts, and then they also want to do Halloween care packages. Since everything's a little weird with COVID right now, we don't have fall breaks or anything like that, so just something to kind of keep morale up during this time. And then the reason that there was a deduction in funds is they had $256.94 left in their account from last year, so we just subtracted that off. So they're still going to be able to fund the total of both of their events. That's always like our policy. We subtract if you have any unallocated funds in your account off of the budget you request.
Very good. Are there any questions or comments with regards to that? Any more discussion at all? All right. Seeing none, it's been motioned and seconded to allocate $843.11 to ISO. All those in favor, please press the check mark. All those opposed, a little X. And if abstentions, on Go Faster via the Participants tab. All right, motion passes. And then we'll wait a second or two.
We're like messaging the person right now to figure something out that's important. We can just move it to next week. They really wanted to be able to try and do some of the stuff with the money sooner.
Or Elliot, would you want to talk a little bit about the meeting?
That's what I was going to ask. We could make a motion to suspend the rules,
Yeah.
jump around, and return to the budget if you get that response by the end of the meeting.
I mean, we could go to suspend and then go to general discussion because I mean, there's no real definitive things going in general discussion. Like, yeah. So may I have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, once again, the little check mark, yes. X, no. Go Faster, abstain, which you can't, so. All righty, motion passes, so we'll move on to, in the meantime, to item number 7, general discussion. I'll let you go ahead, Elliot.
Okay, so this was a discussion that we had in exec about alternative meeting places. So with the recent updates to the yellow policy, or the transition to yellow policy from the orange policy, we are now allowed to have 35 people masked in an area, I believe. We probably won't ever do full SGA because or at least I'll just throw out the options that we discussed in SGA. So our two options that I could kind of see, and I guess we could suggest other ones if anyone else has another idea, is to either meet in the student organization, or not, excuse me, the student senate room, which is upstairs of Kent, right across from the student org suite if you're on your way to the student development, or meet in a place around campus. It could be Kent, it could be one of the classrooms. That could be an option for us. So if we were to meet in or actually, I want to ask all of you, and we can use the participants tab again. Do you prefer to meet in person versus meeting online still? We can do the yes, no, but we can ask questions first. So Piscazi.
Is there going to be an option for people who are like immunodeficient to not attend and like join on Zoom?
Yes, Zoom will always be an option for us. That's going to be a mandate, not only from SGA itself, so myself and Rich and Jorge, but also the college. There's always got to be a mandate for that. If we were to do option 1, which is to meet in student senate room, the ability for us we wouldn't all be able to fit in there anyways. So the idea that exec threw around and was suggested by Rich was we have one senator from each class sit in on the meeting in person. Every exec member, so all the presidents, must be there, Jorge and myself. So then everyone else would be on Zoom and we would rotate like that, similar to what they do in the classroom, if we wanted to go that style and still utilize our student senate room. The other option that we threw around as well was just using that classroom, and we would all be able to fit in there, especially if we use something like Pioneer, if we used Hubble. There's several other classrooms that would theoretically be big enough to hold the 24 of you and still be at 50%. So I would like to go back to that question though. If you want to use that participants tab, this is just a straw poll, whether or not you prefer to meet in person. So yes means in person, no means not in person. So I'm seeing a majority in person right now. We still have some people that didn't vote, but it doesn't matter because this is just a straw poll. So I personally and exec was unanimous in feeling that we would like to meet in person. So then it kind of comes down to what our options are. If anyone else has another idea, feel free to shout it out right now or raise your hand, and then I'll let Jorge call on you to shout it out. But the two options that we kind of saw as viable would be either meeting in the student senate room and rotating the members, or I don't know if we can all fit on a roof, Maggie. But I think that the two options would probably be between those. But if someone else has something else, please also say something. Seeing none, we can move forward with either of those two plans. So what does everyone prefer? We can have some open discussion if anybody would like to begin on what they would like to see, if they'd prefer everybody meeting in person, or everybody rotating. And we could change up what we currently have as well. But anybody like to talk?
Evan, go ahead.
I know that like we're in yellow phase now, and that's like super cool, and we're all being very cautious, and I think that the college and the students on campus have handled it very well. But I think that like meeting in a big group like is still very risky. Like I guess that's what I'm feeling.
Very good. Corey, go ahead.
I am high risk and I don't want to catch the Rona because I don't want to be admitted to the hospital and potentially lose my life due to being immunocompromised. So regardless of the options, I'm going to continue to go and stay online because I'm not taking risks and dying from the Rona.
Very good. Elliot, go ahead.
Yeah, and definitely anybody that wants to, you don't even have to even give a rationale as to why you're on Zoom. Just a simple notification that you will be on Zoom on a potential week if we were to meet in person is all I would require, just so I know whether or not I'm expecting you to be in the room at that time or to be on the Zoom call. Zoom will always be open. The way we traditionally, so we've been using Zoom on SGA for the last, I don't even know, definitely the whole time that I've been here. So everyone had the potential, and it's been written in our Constitution since at least 2016 that if we were to go online or have to meet online for whatever reason, Zoom would be the option for us. We have these little discs that sit on the table that basically you can talk to, and they are speakers and they also are microphones, and that's what we've always used for Zoom calls. So if we were to do it in the Senate room, that's set up. We could also just move them to a classroom and still use that. It would be just making that decision. So anybody else would like to talk?
Maggie, go ahead. And then Casey, I see your hand as well. So I'll call her. I forgot your co-host might be. So go ahead.
Okay, so kind of how I'm approaching this is I'm thinking about what my sister would say to me right now because she's studying like public health and epidemiology at Johns Hopkins, and I think she would be very, very, very against the idea of all of us in one room because that would make it a really high likelihood to become a cluster, and then we all have different things that we do. Some of us are in Greek life, some of us are on sports teams. Like we're all very involved on campus. That's why we're here. And so if we're all together, then we go to the other things. It starts making a web, and that gets me very, very worried.
And then this is also like the CMT said it, like not to undermine anyone, but Professor Amy Doling, quite an intelligent lady, PhD from Harvard, is also sits in this committee, and like we just want to move a little, not fast, with all due respect, and like let's say we do Hubble, we'd also be social distance, so maybe one person per table to eliminate that risk as well. That's as well like the Senate room may be the little tighter one, so that makes sense as well. So, Casey, go ahead.
Yeah, I can't raise my hand in the thing, so sorry about that. But I think as long as we have an option open for people to come on Zoom, just if you like want to, maybe you don't want to leave your room that night, maybe this is just like too much, which is a totally fair opinion. Like it's still scary out there. We don't want to be super spreading it and then all of a sudden we go back to like orange or red. But I think since we're starting to have those options, if people really need to get back to some sense of normalcy, we should have an in-person option if that's something people want to engage in at their own like risk and choice.
Pascasi, go ahead.
I'm gonna be honest. First of all, let me turn off her shit. Okay. I'm gonna be honest. All of my other organizations aren't meeting in person. Like they're gonna continue to meet online, and so this would be. Girl, I'm really trying to talk. This would be the only thing I'm meeting for, and I miss SGA back in normal.
Nobody, but it was just all more fun when we were all together. But yeah, I feel like we're not stupid. We would handle it well and very much social distance and still wear masks and be okay. And I'm not concerned with anything happening. But like to the people who are, I feel you. I like do your thing. But like I also would like to see you guys in person.
Yeah, and then we could also be an example of how to do it, because with this policy, I think if they understand how we're approaching it, maybe that could be a set for other organizations as well, because I would agree that there's always that risk, but we don't want an organization of 30 people to go ahead and meet in one classroom seated for 30 people with wearing their masks, because that wouldn't be as savvy. So I think that'd be good. Rich also mentioned, or Maggie, sorry, I haven't been on the chat. Is it okay if I read this?
Which one? Which part?
The waivers part?
Yeah, or I'm happy to say it. I mean, Maggie mentioned about waivers, and everybody's signing waivers. Waivers are not really recommended. They really, when it comes to a court, a waiver really doesn't stop anything. It just slows them down a little bit. So they're not recommended. A lot of schools don't even allow waivers like that to be signed. So I would not encourage waivers. But it's a great thought, though, Maggie, and I appreciate your thinking of it.
Very good. Thank you. Hadley, go ahead.
Obviously, I'm new to this, but I think if we were to meet in person, the ideal option would be to meet everyone like in a big room like Hubble, instead of doing just like the execs and then one senator per week, because I think it could be very confusing very quickly, and then people would not know when they're supposed to show up, or people would show up on the wrong days, and then it just become this big old hassle thing. And I think it'd be better if we just, whoever wants to come can come to a big room, and then everyone else who is uncomfortable or immunocompromised can stay on Zoom.
Very good. Thank you. Any other things? So I mean, where are we leaning? Are we leaning into doing Hubble with an option of Zoom? Because how many do we have? We have 5 times 4, 20, 22 people. Corey already expressed her concern for not going, so we have 21 people, and then we'd have maybe up to 16 people in Hubble, which at the end of the day isn't that many. But Elliot, go ahead.
So realistically, the new policy changes for rooms says that you can have anyone in your room basically at all as long as everyone's masked, and that's what we would obviously do on SGA as well. So it's effectively the same thing. So if you're going to follow the policy of literally letting anyone in your room as long as everyone's masked, we would be doing the same thing on SGA. I am kind of I'm still on the fence really about what I would rather like to do. On one hand, I would like to have everyone there. But I can also see a very strong possibility of, like that putting everyone at risk. So then if we went the other option and had one person from each class and rotate it, I also see a very high likelihood of people forgetting that it's their week to come. Also, I don't know the quality of discussion when you have some people that are on Zoom. Obviously, I think that all of you have classes where some individuals are on Zoom and some people are in person. At least I have, and from my experience, the people that are on Zoom half the time can't even hear what's going on within the classroom. If we're going to do a big enough class like Hubble or like Pioneer, that's a very large room. I don't know if we would have the capability to have everyone be heard even if they're on Zoom. I would like to, and if we could work together, we can definitely do that. But that's just my thoughts on that. So.
Any other thoughts or concerns from you guys? Because like, I want to hear from everyone. If there's something that hasn't been brought up that you think is important, it'd be appreciated.
Can I say something, Jorge?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, please and thank you.
So that you all understand. I mean, I don't want anybody to feel like this is a this or that sort of conversation. I don't think that we're ever going to put anybody in a position where they're required to meet in person just because I don't want to make people uncomfortable if they don't feel comfortable in that situation. And two, I think that we have an obligation to respect everybody who's around that table and ensure that they are feeling safe about the environment. The other piece, so that you know, is I think that if we are to meet in person, we're going to make every effort to ensure that that room is clean and appropriate and ready for you all to be in there. But we're also going to take action after the meeting to ensure that whoever comes in after us, whether it's a class the next morning or another group after our meeting, that room is clean and ready to go. In the org suite, we have a number of different things, whether it's a fogger or a UV light or any number of things to help sanitize and clean a space, and we'll do whatever we need to make sure that that space is ready for you all. But also, like I said, we're not going to require anybody to be in a space if they're compromised or they're uncomfortable about that experience. We're not going to put that on anybody.
Thank you. Yeah, because that would clear up if any of you guys had questions. We're still trying to be as safe as possible. So thank you. Hadley, go ahead.
Okay, hear me out. And it might be a stupid idea, but I'm going to go with it anyways. Say we do meet in person. What if we had like a Zoom interpreter? Like, so say we set the whatever the Zoom is on close to like everyone that's talking. And then you have one person on the computer that's listening. And anytime someone in the Zoom has something to add, we just like straight put our hand up. Everyone goes quiet. We unmute our computer. They go ahead and speak. That way you always know when someone on Zoom needs to say something and they can turn up their volume for when they need to speak. And then they can turn back off the volume. So that way it's not like a constant, like people in Zoom trying to talk and people in the class trying to talk, if that's even possible.
So I'm going to ask if I'm understanding you right. So does everyone have their computer on Zoom? And if someone's talking, if someone has like something to say that's on Zoom, then everybody would just listen to their computers. We all shut up and we go from there. Is that what you're suggesting? Or are you suggesting something different?
I mean, we could do it one of like two ways. So you could either have like one person that's just like constantly watching Zoom, and as soon as they see that someone on Zoom needs to say something, then everyone is like quiet, and then you all turn on your computers. Or you could just have one person with one Zoom pulled up, so that way it just like goes across the room.
That makes sense. Or like we could also project it. I could project the Zoom and like have you guys. I don't know. That's something we'd adapt if moving forward, like, because that seems like a good idea as well. Very good. But yeah, Chase, go ahead.
I honestly do like meeting in person. I get that it's not comfortable for everyone, and some people are immune compromised. But I think SGA, like last year, I remember like a senior couldn't make it because of something. We are like, we have the experience trying to do the Zoom type thing already. So I think us doing it first would like set a good representation of how to do it on campus. If we did do it in the Senate room, I guarantee that room would be more cleaner than any other room on campus, especially if Rich and a group cleans it before and after. And we have Rich who could like watch the Zoom, or like Lane or someone during the meeting. We have a couple options there. So, I mean, I'm pushing towards in person, socially distanced, but if we decide otherwise, I respect that too.
Well, let's see. Elliot, go ahead.
So I think that we've begun to start saying our personal opinions, which means I'm feeling like we can probably vote on this. Does anyone feel comfortable on doing a vote and say whether or not we would like to meet one person selected rotating, or in person everybody? And if you can't come, obviously we would do Zoom. Or if you would like to come, it's not even just I can't. So I'm just going to stop using that, because it's literally, if you don't want to come, don't feel safe to come, do not come. So it's still totally up to you. I still expect you to be there, whether it be virtually or not virtually, but that's the options on the board. Does everybody feel okay about that? Does anyone like to add any final statements? Jorge, we got a question.
Yeah. Wisconsin, go ahead. Sorry, I was reading the comment in the thing, but then I saw your hand up, so that's better. You read it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just about to say my comment. I would, if like we do the one person rotating, then I would just rather stay on Zoom, because like it's gonna be like 5 people in a room and everybody else on Zoom, and at that point the 5 other people might as well just be on Zoom too. Like there's no point of that. So like I feel like we either do everyone in person, well not everyone, but like people who elect to be in person, everybody else on Zoom, or everybody on Zoom. Like I don't see a point in doing like the whole rotating thing. But it's my personal opinion.
I'd agree, but I don't vote. So yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, Elliot, go ahead.
So I guess I'm going to call a vote, and correct me if I'm wrong on this. So it's going to be a straw poll again. We'll use yes or no. And the question is, would you prefer to meet in person, everybody, yes or no? And you can elect to not come. If I need to write this out, I feel like I'm rambling, but tell me if I'm wrong. Anybody?
You could just call it a hybrid meeting.
Yes, there we go. Thank you. So vote yes or no to the hybrid meeting taking place in a classroom, I believe was probably our most likely around campus for meetings in the future. And that is majority. So we will move forward with that. I'll get you some information later this week as to how we will go about doing it. I'll coordinate with Rich and Jorge to ensure it is the smoothest experience that you have all experienced, guaranteed. So thank you very much. Casey, do you want to move to yours, or would you like us to continue on general discussion?
Whatever's easier for all of you, but I'm ready whenever it's my turn again.
Jorge, what do you think?
We could finish off general discussion and then move back. to just be smoother, I guess. Yeah.
Good deal. Okay. This one might not go as long. I have everything written out exactly what I need to say. So we're going to talk about solar panels a little bit, and I'm going to give you a brief history on solar panels as soon as I pull up the email. Okay, so this Monday, I was reached out to by a student who's a part of Sustainability Club. There are two sustainability, I guess, entities on campus. We have Sustainability Club, which is a club, an organization who could potentially, and I think in the past has requested money. And then we have Sustainability Committee. Sustainability Committee is a SGA created committee that is specifically done not because of solar panels. It was because of solar panels and other projects. And then solar panels was chosen to be its primary function and project. So I'll give you a brief history, to my knowledge, on all things that have transpired on campus in the last year that have related to solar panels. Early last year, so around September, October, SGA created the Sustainability Committee, which was comprised of various campus members, including individuals that were even on the email thread that I was talking about just moments ago. The purpose of this committee was to suggest projects that SGA could fund that they would organize. So the Sustainability Committee would take on the project, they would plan the project, and they would actually execute the project. SGA, or the committee itself decided on and SGA approved the solar panel project as being their finalized project to focus on. In October 2019, to my knowledge, SGA also allocated $32,000 to this organization for the purpose of creating solar panels, primarily on top of Kent. I don't think there was a discussion of adding them anywhere else besides on top of Kent Campus Center. My predecessor, student body president Jalen Seabrooks, and I, as VP, had various meetings with Heidi Levine to get this project moving, but it continually hit roadblocks. Therefore, in early January, SGA drafted a resolution which they demanded either information on why the college refused to move forward with this project, or they would allow us to complete the project and let us move forward. After that resolution was created, myself and previous senior class president Molly Fisher met with interim president Bob Lane and Heidi to discuss why the solar panel project was not moving forward. And during this meeting, it was shared with us that an energy audit was being conducted at Simpson. This audit was not only just solar panels was included within the audit as a potential project to do. It was going to be placed on top of Kent Campus Center, but it also included various things like new boilers, different ways that we could conserve energy in regards to all of our campus buildings. It was massive. I'm talking like millions upon millions of dollars worth of projects that could be completed. So solar panels was a very small portion, and actually it was added right at the end of the meeting that I met with resource committee for, which is a board of trustees created committee that I am a part of. These panels, I believe, were around $150. So the money that we allocated for the solar panel project was $31,000. The money that was to create the solar panels on top of Kent were around $150. I believe that's correct. Rich might actually have that information. I couldn't find that anywhere, but I might have thrown away those papers. This was
I believe it was like 150 to 200,000, depending upon what it was. The other difference, so that you all know, with those solar panels, the ones that we were funding were not sufficient enough to power the entire building. I think that they had the capacity to power or cover about 1/3 of the energy used in Kent, whereas I believe the other ones for the 150 or so thousand was intended to cover all of the power needs of Kent, is the way I understand it.
Yes. So obviously that money difference was pretty big. So that was a reason why it's kind of stood still. That board of trustees meeting was in February. Everybody obviously knows what took place in March and has still been taking place since then. So that is primarily why this project has kind of hit a standstill. It was discussed a little bit at the board of trustees meeting. I believe in October, which is when the next board of trustees meeting will be, that Casey, Jorge, and I, in addition to other campus leaders, will be attending. I've heard from the SEC director, or I don't know his actual title. His name's Randy Rice. He told me the entire email chain that the Board of Trustees will be voting on that energy audit. So it will be either approved or denied at that meeting in October. That's kind of the entire history. I had a meeting with Heidi early this week to discuss some CMT stuff, and we got a little bit off track, and I asked her about the solar panels. And I asked if the college had any intention of moving forward with that. She guessed and assumed that President Kelleher had not been updated in depth with all of the history of the solar panels because of the events that have taken place within this semester and early this year. She doubted, she did not know for sure though. She at least probably did not have a conversation with her regarding that portion of the energy audit. So that is basically all the history we have with solar panels. Early this week, I was reached out to by students that would like to get this started again. Faculty members joined in. The leader of the sustainability committee that we appointed last year was very interested in continuing this project in some form. And I told him that in addition to the entire email chain, I told if they would like to move forward with this project. I think there's a passion behind sustainability on this campus, and I think that the interest is definitely there. If we would like to move forward though, we would probably have to reallocate them funds. I do not believe that would roll over. I could be wrong, but I don't think that that is something that we just guarantee. It was also kind of an irregular project for us to fund. Typically we do zero-based budgeting, so they have to ask for exactly what they want. That's what FAC ensures that each organization does. And in the case of the sustainability committee, we just gave them a lump sum of money and said, like, have fun. So they did. It was a cool project. Unfortunately, it never took place. But that is our entire history. I suggested to them that they would have to reallocate, which would mean that we would have to make a proposal to reallocate the money. I also asked them if the organization of the sustainability committee made sense. Personally, it's always confused me why there's a sustainability club and a sustainability committee. I think that they serve different purposes, and I don't know if there's an interest in kind of like moving around that committee. I asked them about that, and they didn't really seem too interested in changing up the dynamics of that committee, but we could obviously do that because it's an SGA created committee. So we have the power to do anything. So does anybody have any questions about that? I see Heaven's hand is up. So.
Evan, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, there's not anything we can really do until the school like says, yes, we're going to go ahead and do our energy audit, or no. Just so that like people aren't ranting to SGA about the fact that it's not getting done. There's not really much movement we can do until we get the yay or nay from the school.
Elliot, go ahead.
That is a very important distinction. Thank you very much, Heaven. Yes, we can't move forward technically. The reason and rationale that Heidi and Bob gave us early this year as to why we could not just move forward with this project is because Kent Campus Center is technically owned by the trustees, and we cannot add any additions to that. Considering it was a project that we were intending to fund fully with our money, I didn't really fully understand that rationale. But they don't want free money, I guess. All up to them. But it is at a standstill until the Board of Trustees pass or deny that energy audit. I believe there was an intention to still do it, but man, I could be wrong. That's a very that's an estimation on my non-expertise status. So I don't know. If they decide no, I think we could still move forward with it in some sense. But I don't know. So any other questions about that? Seeing none, we'll just wrap this discussion up. I really just wanted to get everybody on the same page so we all know what our history with this is, so we can kind of be united in our push to whatever we decide to do. So look forward to more discussion regarding this issue in the coming weeks, especially after the Board of Trustees meeting that takes place, I believe, around the teens of October. I'm not really quite sure on the date. Last year it was the 12th, I believe.
I think it's that second, like in about 2 weeks, I think it is.
Yes, so 2 weeks. 3 weeks technically, because it takes place on a Friday. So we'd have to wait till the week.
Very good. All right. So we'll move on. How about we'll move on to Sarah's budget request, and then announcements, and then we'll cut the audio. That way, people still are aware about the stuff that we're going on. So, we can move back to Casey. Go ahead on new business for reports or budget requests.
Where did the Sarah one go from the agenda? Oh, I went to last week's. I'm so sorry. I had to like check a document and I opened the wrong agenda up. So I was like, the budget is gone. But once it loads, I move to allocate $2,290.59 to Sarah.
Second.
Thank you. So it's been motioned and seconded to allocate $2,290.59. Discussion. Casey, go ahead.
So this is funding for the Sarah shirts that they provide for campus every year. That usually goes along with the tabling event. They originally requested $2,500. The reason for the deduction was that the $2,500 that they asked for in the email was just an estimate of what they thought the shirts were going to cost. The actual cost of the shirts is the $2,200. So we're not actually taking any money away from the shirts they want. We're just only funding what they need and not an extra cushion that wasn't for anything.
Very good. Any questions or comments for the discussion? Pascasi, go ahead.
Sarah's doing crop t-shirts this year and I'm so excited.
I don't know. Very nice. Very nice. Any other questions or comments? All right. Seeing none, it has been motioned and seconded to allocate $2,290 with 59 cents to Sarah. All those in favor, please put your little check marks. Oppose, and go faster to abstain. We're almost there. One more, I think. Yeah, motion passes. Yeah, if you guys could vote the quicker vote, we are right. All right, and then we'll move on to announcements just for people on the live stream to still hear. So, announcements from you guys. What do you have? Other than vote, vote, vote. Very important, all exclamation points. Maggie, go ahead.
Okay, so remember last week when Picassi said there was going to be an RLC event? Well, that didn't happen. So it's tomorrow now. There is an RLC event. It's now partially in Durham Lounge because we're in yellow phase. We're going to have some games. We've updated our prizes. We are ready to see you all.
When's the date again?
Tomorrow, I think 8 p.m. Check at SimpRLC on Instagram for that information.
Very good. Drake, go ahead.
The Culver Center lecture is October 14th. And then I also believe the Matthew Simpson lecture is this upcoming Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Elliot. I see it. Any other announcements?
Cab's having an event 4 to 6 on Friday. They're doing bags. They're doing can something. Maggie, I have to have one for a CA, so I have to put those up. I didn't steal it. They're also doing giant tic-tac-toe. So if anybody wants to go out and lose to tic-tac-toe, play me because I'm the best. It's actually Connect 4.
Very good. Any other announcements from you guys?
Early voting starts Monday. So if you are registered to vote, you can literally go and vote Monday.
Indeed. All righty. Anything else from you guys? Rich, I think we're good then. Thank you.
Okay, give me a half second to
Yeah.
shut everything off.